Greetings. I was asked a while back, what are a few of the worst experiences you've had as a result of the COINTELPRO type gang stalking assault? Well, a question that I wasn't quite prepared for without some reflection. Then, too, a huge immediacy factor exists. What happened yesterday doesn't seem quite as bad, even though it probably was as bad or worse. But if it happened yesterday or several weeks ago, it doesn't seem that bad. You know the syndrome probably that I'm talking about. The new pains and traumas and whatever are seemingly the worst ever. But still, one physical attack just 2 years ago was, at that time, the worst assault that I'd had up to that point. But it has also remained in my memory the absolute worst. It was probably some kind of laser beam, or what might be called a maser. Maser uses microwave energy, I think. But anyway, some kind of directed energy weapon, or DEW as they're called. The beam struck me 3 times in the morning, and then a 4th strike that evening as I was retiring. That was many, many times more powerful than the first 3 strikes combined. In fact, every bodily function, including the heart and lungs and muscular control, everything just seemed to totally shut down for several minutes. But some things didn't went on much longer than that. For example, my vision was gone for almost an hour. We left the vicinity early the next morning and drove all day. Days later, after returning, my wife was similarly struck, causing her to fall on hard pavement in the driveway. And an elderly parent, we later realized, had a year or 2 before we had been struck, likely been struck also. She called us hundreds of miles distant to describe symptoms identical to what we had experienced just 2 years ago. But anyway, at the time, we had never heard of anything like COINTELPRO or MK Ultra or gang stalking or organized government stalking. We'd never heard of these, and we didn't know what to think at the time. Research on these weapons a little later told us that they could indeed be fatal, even though they're called no-touch weapons. You are being torn apart in actuality by some kind of microwave or laser or electronic beams that some people say could split the earth, much less a human being, and they could cause permanent blindness. The elderly parent never had a chance. We thought her problem came from within, but like our own, they were likely induced. The final few weeks, I would keep telling her that nothing was really her fault, that she was not to blame for anything, and that she was a wonderful, wonderful person. I would say this over and over every visit to the hospital, and I meant it, and she heard it. And to every targeted citizen, and every victim of deadly directed energy weapons or electronic mind control or drug and chemical mind control or systemic poisoning with biological weaponry, and the covert and overt assault by highly trained operatives. I here stress that you are wonderful human beings. You are some of the last earth angels in a world that often seems sick and evil, and you are to blame for nothing at all, since the first day of the covert targeting. Hear this and maybe forget it until maybe you need it. But just remember, you're wonderful.